Okay, so here we go. We're gonna try it. It's in gear, I think. I don't know. It runs, but it's like it's wanting. I think transmission's probably low on automatic transmission fluid. So here, the shifter is like, we can't tell what's gear because it's like so sloppy automatic. So like we don't know. It felt like it was wanting to go in gear, so the transmission's probably low on ATF. Okay. It's just running so bad. It's I mean it'll run, but it's just so out of time, or who knows whatever someone's done to it. Should run though. Yep. So here's a quick before shot on the truck before we get it pressure washed. It's pretty bad, moldy and whatever fell from the trees. The bed I'm probably gonna do later. I don't want it in the yard here, so I'll just back into the woods and do it all in the woods. So there's the top. It's really bad. The windshield, you can't even see through it. The inside on that, it's yeah, like you can't even drive it as it is. And then I'll clean out the interior, and then we'll go ahead and pressure wash the interior out, but I'm going to do that in a little bit later. But yeah, should look good though. So here's a quick walk around the truck after it's been just pressure washed. It hasn't been hand washed yet, but I mean it looks pretty good. I mean it's not perfect. You can see there's been overspray and stuff all over it, but I mean it's a good 100-footer. Nothing really wrong with it. And then the interior hasn't actually, it's been just cleaned out trash wise, but we haven't actually wiped down anything yet. The dash is still nasty, and which I actually have one that's better, but still not good. The doors aren't too bad. And the cab mounts and everything are still rotten pretty much. But Need a tailgate going somewhere. Looks pretty good. The glass isn't cracked or anything. Pop the hood. This is the underside of the hood there. You can see the kind of used water pump we put in down there, and it's got a problem right now where it's currently not getting fuel. It's like it's not really pumping, so we're thinking the pump's either stopped up with dirt or something, or the carburetor's, I don't know. So we're gonna go through, put a new carburetor on it, go through the fuel system, because you put fuel in the carburetor in the bowl and it runs just fine until the bowl's gone. It like barely does anything. So fuel system's next. The truck's like not really drivable at all, but I mean it's gonna get stopped as soon as you run out of the bowl, but that'll be next. But looks pretty good so far. Okay, so we just replaced the little piece of rubber line that goes to the carburetor up here, because it was completely stopped up from the old gas. This piece of line right there.
Well, that's the fuel filter.
Yeah, and the fuel filter we cleaned. So now it's got this little hacky alternator bracket. Well, we'll show that when it comes off, but you can see the bracket's completely broke.
And it's supposed to be a spacer. It goes back here, between here, and then the bolt goes all the way through here and through the alternator and into this bracket. But there was a piece of wire that was holding this whole thing up with like a 5/16 bolt stuck in there. So the alternator just sat there and vibrated and spun and made noise.
Yeah, so that'll be next. And then we got the trash pretty much out of the interior. It's still really dirty, so I'm probably gonna take the pressure washer, probably end up ripping all this out. It's got the old original headliner, but it's broke. I can feel it up here, so we're gonna probably rip all that out, get the pressure washer, and just pressure wash the whole interior. There's nothing you can really damage except that old junky radio, but this smells like old truck. And then we'll have to take it to the woods and clean out the bed, which is getting dry, which is kind of what I was waiting for.
Alright, well there's the alternator bracket. I'm not sure what somebody was doing. Almost looks like it was torched out of there. I don't know if they had trouble, maybe the bolt was seized onto a alternator at one time and they had to cut it off of there. I don't know. We'll weld that washer on there and kind of double up the strength of it. Weld all this in back here and we'll go from there. Okay, there's that bracket afterwards. Welded a washer on top of it and then used it as a backing plate to kind of fill the back in with weld. So got it ground down, dressed up, and ready to bolt back on.
Yep. And then we also got the charcoal can down there is deleted. It wasn't hooked up anyway. So go ahead and put everything back together. So here we got the alternator bracket fixed, and we gotta get a new belt for the alternator. Power steering is gonna get tightened here, and then here's the hacky bolt that was on the alternator before, like 3 or 4 with like a nut that
I don't know what they were doing. Yeah. It's like a fix that you do on the side of the road somewhere. So like you hope that you fix it when you get home.
We fixed the bracket and then added a spacer, and then so it goes into the head correctly, and then straightened out the bottom bracket because that was bent because the top one was broke. So we're getting this tightened up, get a set of belts for it, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so now after we got all the junk cleaned out of the interior, we're gonna go ahead and pressure wash it, since there's really no electronics in here except that junk radio, which is hackly installed. So we're just gonna go ahead and pressure wash the whole entire interior out because it smells like rat pee and had nests and stuff in it. So this will be a good way to get it clean real quick. Okay, so here's what the bed looks like after we swept it out, and then I just pressure washed it out. It's in pretty good shape. There's some holes up here in the front, which is pretty standard, but the back, the wheel tubs and everything are pretty solid on the rest of the bed. So it cleaned up really good. And here's a look at the interior after it's been pressure washed out. Whole lot better. Everything's been good. The headliner's gone. No more. After we pulled the cardboard out, there like two big old rat's nests came out of it behind the seat. It's pretty clean. Doors are better, so that's a pretty good start. So next step, we're going to go ahead and shoot some oven cleaner on the engine and let the engine soak for a good 15 minutes with some oven cleaner on it. It'll eat all the little grease away off the engine. Okay, so here I'm going to use this oven cleaner, and it's just some kind of stuff from like a dollar store. And we're just going to go ahead and soak the engine down and everything with it. And it foams up pretty good, so you know where you put it. So we're going to put it on real thick, and a lot of people are going to comment that I'm going to get water in spots it's not supposed to have water. Well, like the distributor is probably going to get water in it, but there's nothing we can really do about it except not clean the engine. So we're just going to, after we're done clean everything, we're probably just going to have to clean the distributor, dry it out, and then it should be good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and soak the engine down and get back to you. Okay, so here's what the engine looks like after, it took about 2 cans to do this. So if you let it sit on too long on paint, it will actually strip paint, but on this case we don't really care. So if you have an engine that's painted, I would not recommend oven cleaner, but we're just stripping all the grease off if we can here. And then I'll end up soaking the firewall and everything else with just normal like grease lightning. And then we'll let this sit. I'll probably give it another can after about 10 minutes when it really starts to dry, and then we'll go ahead and pressure wash it off. And you can already see, like on the carburetor, the grease is just falling off of it. It's the orange everywhere. You can hear it sizzling. So we'll go ahead and let this sit, and I'll come back when it's start the pressure wash. Alright, so here's the engine after it's been sitting for probably 15 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and pressure wash it off, and depending on how it turns out, we might do another coat of oven cleaner. So I'm going to set this up here, and we'll get a pressure wash. So here's the engine right after it's been degreased. You can see it ate like all the grease off of everything. The carburetor's now clean. It ate the paint off the valve covers. It looked like, I don't know if someone had the motor like a cream color at one point, because you can see like there's cream back there on the valve cover and on the intake. And this hose here is a little cream, but the engine's a whole lot better. So we're going to go ahead and fire it up. So the shifter is still weird. So the key and fires right up. The idle's, it's got a little shake to it. Could use a little bit more of a tune-up. But we ended up cutting the one tailpipe off because one of them was gone. So it sounds pretty good with the Flowmasters. Okay, well here's our final walk around on the truck. I think it turned out pretty good. Just make sure if you want to see more content like this, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.